All right, hello everyone. So today we're going to be taking a look at a hip hop classic, Still D.R.E, and talk about how it was constructed and compose two variations on that idea. So let's get into it. And that's basically the riff. So let's talk about what that's made up. And as you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner, Synthesia's telling me that's an A minor chord. So you might know A minor, and you might know it as this. So here we have what's called an A minor chord in root position. So root position means that this A is being played as the lowest note. Now, if we take this A and move it up an octave to the A up here, we still have an A minor chord because our notes are still A, C, and E. However, we have an A minor chord that's inverted, and this is called the first inversion. That would be second inversion. Oop. There we go. I think I played a C major chord. There we go. So there's our first inversion A minor chord, and then we move to this and then to this. So we're going to look at this, and you can see Synthesia's correctly labeling this as an E minor chord. And again, you might know E minor like this. However, this would be an E minor chord in second inversion. So here's root position. Here's first invert. Yeah. Here's E minor. Here's first inversion. And here's second inversion. Alright. So to transition between these two chords, so here's our A minor and first inversion. This lower voice, the third of the A minor, moves to the B, the fifth of the E minor. So let's review that. So if we have this is our A minor root position chord, the A being the root, the C being the third, the E being the fifth. In our E minor chord, our E is the root, the G is the third, and the B is the fifth. So when we move, the third of the A minor moves to the fifth of the E minor. The E is a common tone between both chords because it's the root of the E minor and the fifth of the A minor. And the root of the A minor chord moves to the third of the E minor. So we have, which moves to this, which moves to this. Alright? And then when we play it in this eighth note rhythm, and you have the lick. One last little thing about this, if you listen to the recording, it's kind of played in this kind of a style. Kind of where I'm rolling my hand. All right, so that's the pattern, and I'll also upload a Google Doc to Classroom with the notation if you prefer to look at it like that, and also this little piano sheet. Now we're going to ignore the left-hand part of this for today and just focus on the right-hand part and learning some chords and transitioning between those chords. So for the first part of this assignment, I want you to record the right-hand part of Still D.R.E into the first 4 bars of the GarageBand project. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can do this any way you like. It doesn't have to be with the flam thing, with the rolling part. If you just want to do straight eighth notes, in fact, that's what I'm going to do when I record. All right, so I'm going to just make sure that I like the metronome on, count in. Let's see what our count in says. We got 1 bar count in, so we're good to go. All right, here we go. And there we go. Now, that's one way to do it. I'm actually going to re-record it with the doing kind of the rolling thing in my right hand because I wanted to demonstrate something. Now what's interesting about this, so you can see some of these are a little bit off, and that's actually by design because since you're doing that, this note isn't going to be exactly on the downbeat. But you're basically, so if I go here and I quantize to the 8th note, And let's make sure everything is selected. And all right, so now we have it's aligned everything to the grid. But if I adjust the strength to, let's say, you can start to hear that rolling chord effect. And as you adjust the strength of the quantize feature, you can start. All right, so that's still neat because I kind of want those lower notes to be on the as close to the downbeats as possible. So you can mess around with that and fine tune it so that you get you get something that's rhythmically good but also has that effect. Okay, so for variation number 1, what I want you to do is just take those 2 chords and figure out another way to transition. And you can also change the rhythm. So the original is all 8th notes, but if you wanted to do something like this. So a rhythmic variation, but the other thing that I did, if you noticed, you could hear it sounded a little bit different. Let's take a look at what I'm doing in synesthesia. So I started with that same A minor first inversion chord, but instead of moving the bottom note first, I moved the top note. So I did, and I used what's called a C major chord as a transition between those 2 voices. You could also take it and do something in if you wanted to do start with a second inversion A minor chord. Or a root position and experiment with some voice leading between those 2 chords. In variation 2, what I want you to do is the same idea, but I want you to pick 2 different chords that you think sound good. So we're in the key of, it says C major, I should have changed it to A minor. We're in the key of A minor, so if you wanted to do, let's say D major to A minor. So I'm just going to do second inversion D major chord. So here's our root position. So first inversion is this, and second inversion is this. And I'm going to voice lead that back to this A minor. And you probably should, A minor should be one of the chords that you choose because that's the key of the tune. So I'm doing D major, and I'm going to experiment with this idea. So the whole time I'm just kind of experimenting with these little passing tones between those chords. And that's what I'd like you to do for variation 2. So in the original, I wanted to recording the original for here in Still D.R.E, and variation 1, some simple variation using the 2 chords of Still D.R.E but done in a different way. And then in variation 2, coming up with your own 2 chords and making something that sounds kind of new. All right. Looking forward to hearing what you have, and that's all for today.